and welcome. Yes, this is PLAR History and Geography here at Wasa and Sulagao. That is right. This is PLAR History and Geography. This is Jonathan here joining you. Yes, if you're looking for PLAR English with Andrea, yes, we have switched time slots. So if you are looking for PLAR English, that will be tomorrow at my time slot at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time. Okay, but right now this is Jonathan here with you with PLAR History and Geography. Okay, so yes, this is a one-time switch occurrence only. Okay, hello Lillian and Waterman. How are you today? Hopefully you can hear me. But yes, this is PLAR History and Geography. Okay, just a reminder, Andrea will be here tomorrow doing PLAR English with everyone, okay? But today, right now, on this mild evening night here in Sulak, really mild out, feel like spring. But yes, we are doing PLAR History and Geography. Hello, Lillian. How are you today? Good, good. Thank you so much for joining. That's excellent. Thank you. Yes, we are entering week 4 of our 9-week term. We're looking at history and geography. As promised, uh, today is the start of week 4. We're almost halfway there. So, like promised, our goal is to finish the history portion or the history half this week. Okay, and then we'll start geography, the second portion of this course, next week. Okay, just to give a little schedule out there. Okay. Again, just a reminder, you might see have my smartboard screen. You have my study guide front page with all my contact info. Again, feel free to email me, call me, add me as a friend on Facebook if you have any difficulties with any of your assignments, or if you have any questions in regards to PLAR history and geography. Okay? Excellent. All right. So today we're starting lesson number 3. Okay, so we are now done lesson 1 and lesson 2. We have talked about Canada in the early 1900s, Canada in World War One and World War Two. Okay, and now we're switching gears and moving on to a different time period in terms of Canadian history. We're starting lesson 3 today. Okay, class. We have 2 more main topics that we need to finish off in terms of the history portion, and then we can begin the geography half. Okay, so as you can note on page 16, no, page 18 of your textbook. Okay, that's where it starts lesson 3. Okay, so today's class, we'll be looking at the Quiet Revolution period, or Canada in the 1960s. Okay, and then on Thursday, where we're back at our normal time slot, we'll be looking at free trade and the Canada Act. Okay, class? So today, our learning goal is you will understand the significance of the Quiet Revolution. Okay, so you'll learn about that and what that event's all about. You'll also understand the Francophones' move towards independence, and you'll also learn a group called the FLQ, okay, and what they're all about. Again, you will learn about the term the Quiet Revolution and the reason for nationalism and why Quebec, the province of Quebec, wants to separate from Canada. Okay? Again, we'll be looking at Quebec, the province of Quebec, how they want to move towards independence, and a group called the FLQ. And today, at the end of today's class, so I'll be going over assignment 7. Very short assignment in terms of assignment 7. Okay, so hopefully assignment 1 all the way to assignment 6 are now completed. Hopefully. Okay, if not, please continue to work on those assignments and please get them to me as soon as you can. That way I can mark it and give you feedback and let you know how you're doing and how you can improve as well. Okay. The Quiet Revolution. Yes, that is our topic for today. Again, we're looking at Canada primarily in the 1960s. Okay, what was Canada all about in the 1960s? Then next class, we'll be looking closer towards the 2000 period, year. Okay. Are there any questions, comments, concerns before we begin today's class? Looking at Quebec, the province of Quebec. Okay, just a reminder, if you're looking for PLAR English, that is tomorrow time slot on my time slot. Okay, Andrea is away on a professional development workshop. Therefore, she couldn't attend her time slot tonight. So we switch. That's why I'm here, and she'll be taking my slot tomorrow. Okay, reminder, this is a one-time occurrence only. It will not happen again. I'll just drop my mic. Okay, let's begin. So what was Canada like in the 1960s? Yes, I'm gonna give you a bit of background content and what the 1960s were all about. Okay, so Canada in the 1960s, this was a period of rejection of traditional values and establishment. Okay, so people start to challenge the government. People start to challenge and question the authority. Okay, they also challenge of social inequality. Okay, and people wanted political change. Okay, this is what they desire. They wanted change. Okay, this is a period of movement. Okay, a period of change, a period of stepping up, voicing their opinion. Okay, here I haven't read. This is a period of challenge status quo to find their voice. Therefore, people or Canadians during the 60s begin to create their own Canada. Okay, again, they want to challenge the authority, start to reject traditional values and establishment. They want change. People want to see change in the 1960s. Okay, this is what was going on in Canada. Okay, lots of different changes. Okay, changes start to begin, and you'll definitely see that in terms of today's class and today's lesson. So just keep that in mind, okay? 1960s, a period of change and challenges as well. So for example, here on my smartphone screen, I have noted that, for example, in the 1962, Canada changed, or the immigration policy was reformed, okay, where we started to allow more immigrants here in Canada. Okay, 1965, we adopted our new Canadian flag, what we know as today. Okay, our flag was born, our Canadian flag. Okay, that was in 1965. In 1966, just a year afterwards, Canada developed a national healthcare plan. Okay, something we have today. Okay, healthcare. Okay, that was developed in the 1960s as well. The Canadian pension plan was also developed in the 1960s. Okay. And near the end of the 60s, 1969, we see the criminal code start to be reformed and start to be changed as well. Okay, so again, just some examples of changes that took place in Canada. Also in the 60s, again, it was still the period of the Cold War. The Vietnam War took place as well. Okay, Canada was a big part of that in terms of peacekeeping. So again, lots of events, lots of changes, lots of development starts to happen in the 1960s. Yes, like I emphasized already, today class, we are talking about the province of Quebec. Okay, Quebec. Okay, and how Quebec as a province wanted to move towards independence, where they wanted to establish nationalism. Okay, we have talked lots about in our previous class. Okay, about English-speaking Canadian and French-speaking Canadians as well, and how they often bump heads and have different opposite views. okay, in terms of economics, political, and culturally as well. Okay, but yes, Quebec. Okay, this was a time period where Quebec wanted to become its own separate nation, where they wanted to separate and become their own nation away from Canada. Okay, this is what was going on during this time period. Okay, but Quebec, this is what we're talking about today. This province. Okay. All right, so that's the root of Quebec nationalism. Nationalism. Again, we have talked about English speaking and French speaking. Yes, these are two of the main groups in Canada, English or French speaking. Again, they often disagree about how Canada should be run as a country and what it means to be Canadian. Okay, like we have talked about past. Okay, English speaking have their own views, and the French speaking Canadians have their own separate views. Okay, French Canadians often worry about how English Canada influence their culture and their economics. Okay, Quebec wanted to be again its own nation, own distinct nation. They wanted to be separated from Canada. Okay, Quebec as a province. Okay, Quebec often have different political views. Okay, how things should be run and things should be managed. Okay, Quebec after World War II. Again, last class we finished what was kind of like after the World War II period. Quebec after World War II again was more modernized. Okay, and it was more modern or modernity impacted all segments of Quebec. Okay, so again, Quebec as a province started to change and started to become more modern. Okay, again, if you go back and look at our map of Quebec, you'll often notice that Quebec is a pretty big province. Yes, Quebec is the biggest province in Canada. It has lots of resources. It can easily become its own independent nation and separate from Canada if it wanted to. Okay, this is the theme we're talking about for today's class. How Quebec and its idea of nationalism and maintaining its French dominant culture and ideology and identity wants to be established and not lost in terms of English Canada or the rest of Canada. Okay, so this was the root of Quebec nationalism. Okay, if you're following along in your textbook, I am on page 19. 19 at the very, very top. It talks about Quebec and its nationalism and what it means. Alright, so now, yes, we're going to talk about some political leaders or some political figures that were a key part of Quebec's nationalism. Okay, so again, I'm going to emphasize some key names that we should remember. Okay, so I'm going to start off with Maurice Duplessis. Okay, Maurice Duplessis, this man right here. He was Quebec premier um, during this time period. Okay, he was the leader of the Union Nationale Party. He wanted what was best for Quebec. Okay, he wanted what was best for Quebec in terms of private enterprise, low taxes, the Catholic Church, old establishment, American investment. He opposed labor union. Okay, this is what he wanted. This is what he wanted. So all this was really linked to the American or the U.S. Okay, this is the old establishment. This is what was going on. This is what Maurice Duplessis wanted to establish. Okay, hello Delilah in Fort Hope. How are you today? Thank you for joining. Okay, so Maurice Duplessis, he was before the Quiet Revolution period started. Maurice Duplessis was the premier of the Quebec province. A lot of his political movements and ideas was really linked to American or the British, okay, form of thinking or way of thinking. Okay, so a lot of people didn't like the direction of Maurice Duplessis in terms of his movement, or in terms of his direction, in terms of running the province of Quebec. So these people were political motivated people. They were intellectual community groups of people, some clergy, union leaders, union national parties, considered corrupted. Okay, so Maurice Duplessis and his party of the Union Nationale Party were seen as corrupted. Okay, how it was moving towards the English way, a lifestyle of the English. Okay, so if you think of Maurice Duplessis, again, linking with, English Canada. Okay, English Canada. Okay, so a lot of French Canadian citizens speaking individual didn't like this. Okay, they didn't like the direction of Maurice Duplessis. As I mentioned, Maurice Duplessis died in office. He died while he was the leader of the province of Quebec. Okay, once Maurice Duplessis died in office, it really kick-started a movement, a a change that we know as the Quiet Revolution. Yes, the Quiet Revolution. Let's put a little star beside it. The Quiet Revolution started in 1960 and lasted until 1966, a 6-year span. Okay, so what the Quiet Revolution period was all about. Okay, so the Quiet Revolution was a period of rapid change, of non-violent change, responsible for the beginning of modernizing a secularized Quebec. Okay, I'll say that again. A period of rapid and non-violent change responsible for the beginning of a modern secularized Quebec. What that means is that what the Quiet Revolution period is all about, it was a period of change away from the English speaking lifestyle of Canadians and move towards a more French speaking political, socially, ideology lifestyle. Okay? People wanted to maintain their identity. Okay? So why was it called quiet? Okay? You'll see this come up in a question on next assignment. So why was it called quiet? The Quiet Revolution. The reason it was called the Quiet Revolution was that it was achieved through guns. It was not achieved through guns or forces, but it was achieved through magazines and newspaper articles that changed political legislatives and laws. Okay, so often we associate the word revolution with violence, guns, people dying, people being arrested, police. Okay, but it was called Quiet Revolution because it did not have any violence technically. Okay, there were no guns, there were no forces. It was achieved through people writing magazines, um, in newspaper articles, and changing laws. Okay, this was what the Quiet Revolution period was all about. Quebec citizens wanted to protect their culture and their identity. Okay, they didn't want to be lost in this English-speaking world of Canada. Okay, Quebec felt discriminated against socially, culturally, politically, and economically. Okay, it felt that yes, they were being discriminated. Okay, they often have a different form of identity that they wanted to protect and they wanted to promote. Okay, and that identity is French speaking. Okay, French speaking. Okay, I'll write that a little French. This is what they wanted to protect. This is what they wanted to promote. Okay. Any questions so far? Are we all right? So after Maurice Duplessis died in office and kick-started the Quiet Revolution, okay, again, we're talking about another political leader here, and his name was Jean Lesage. Okay, another key political leader, another key political figure, Jean Lesage. You might want to remember his name. So yes, he was elected as Premier of Quebec after Maurice Duplessis died. He was in office during, obviously, the period of the Quiet Revolution, and what he promised was that he promised change. Okay, he promised change for the Quebec people. He promised that yes, we will keep our identity as French-speaking Canadians. Okay, we will not follow what was being established by the British or the American influence. We will promise change to keep our French cultural identity. Okay, so what Jean Lesage did was that he ended electoral corruption. Okay, he established something called the Ministry of Education in the province of Quebec. He reconstructed secondary school where high school students now had to take certain amounts of classes or particular types of classes. He changed the labor law. Public sector now have the right to strike. Okay, there is now a hospital plan that goes back into the province of Quebec. And now there are also federal tax money that goes back into Quebec. You see a pattern starting to develop here? Again, he promised change for the people of Quebec. So all of these reforms and movements and ideas and changes that Jean Lesage established all related back to protecting and promoting French cultural identity in the province of Quebec. This is what he did. Okay? So what happened? Let's talk about the conclusion. The conclusion of the quiet revolution. Okay, let's talk about the conclusion of quiet revolution. This should be quiet. Not Quebec revolution, the quiet revolution. Okay. So what happened at the end or the conclusion of the quiet revolution? Yes, we just talked about what the quiet revolution was, that 6-year period, how French wanted to protect and promote their cultural identity. They moved towards independence and separate away from Canada. Okay, so what happened at the result of the quiet revolution was that it ended social influence of the Catholic Church. Okay, so again, we're starting to move away from the British, American, English-speaking society. There was an increase francophones and their confidence and their sense of pride. People started to believe, yes, we should protect our French identity and our culture. Okay, so people were really confident and had a sense of pride. And the Francophones, the French speaking, started to challenge any Anglo status quo or any English establishment. Okay, they start to question any English laws or authority. Okay, again, people started to believe this change, this movement, again, of protecting their own identity and moving towards independence. Okay, this was the result of the Quiet Revolution. Okay, I am now on page 20 of your textbook. I'm going to talk about your unique group right now. Okay, are there any questions right now before we begin? All right, excellent. Okay, that's another question. Let's continue. Let's continue. So right now we are going to talk about a group known as the FLQ. Okay, the FLQ, otherwise known as the Front de Liberation du Quebec. Okay, the FLQ for short. Front de la Liberation du Quebec. So who were the FLQ? Who were the FLQ? So the FLQ, they were a group of individual, otherwise known as a group of terrorists. Okay, so yes, the FLQ, this group of individuals were terrorists. Okay, so what they did was that they felt that the only way to win Quebec's independence, okay, or separate from Canada, or maintain their own identity and culture was in the form of violence. Okay, in the form of violence. Okay, so what the FLQ did was that they did two things. Okay, two things. Okay, bombing and kidnapping. Okay, yes, they did a lot of terrorist and violent activity, such as bombing the city of Montreal and kidnapping key political figures. Okay, yes, the FLQ kidnapped James Cross, otherwise known as the British Trade Minister, and the FLQ also kidnapped Pierre Laporte, also known as the Quebec Minister of Labor. Okay, yes, they did some bombing, set off some explosive, okay, try to scare people, innocent people, and they kidnap key political figure such as James Cross and Pierre Laporte. Okay, again, FLQ, you'll see this on your next assignment. Okay, they are a group of terrorists. Okay, group of terrorists, and they did two things. Okay, remember two things, not just one, but two things. They did two key things: kidnapping and bombing key political figures. Okay, Pierre Laporte right here was eventually killed later on by the FLQ. So you can start to see how serious and violent the FLQ were. Okay, FLQ. I got a little link, a little YouTube link that I have right here. I'm going to go get back to that in a moment. I'm going to get to my next slide, and I'll come back to that. So what happened to the FLQ and their terrorist activities of bombing and kidnapping and striking fear in terms of innocent citizens? So what happened was that this man right here, Pierre Trudeau, the father of Justin Trudeau, okay, he was the Prime Minister of Canada in the late 1960s. So what he did was that he invoked something called the War Measure Act. He invoked the War Measure Act. This is pretty significant because he invoked the War Measure Act in order to restore peace and order. Okay, so yes, we have a little group known as the FLQ running around again, striking fear in society, kidnapping key political figures, doing whatever they want, bombing society or cities in Quebec. Okay, so in order to restore peace and order, in order to maintain control, Pierre Trudeau, our prime minister at this time period, he invoked the War Measure Act. So what that did was that it suspended individual legal rights. Okay, so people were being arrested, people were being detained without any charges or any questions. Okay, if you were seen as a suspect or any suspicion, boom, you were arrested or you were detained. Okay, usually the War Measure Act is used in time of national security. Okay, so again, lots of controversy took place when Trudeau invoked the War Measures Act. Okay, people thought that it infringed upon individual legal rights as people were being arrested without any reasonable cause at all. Okay, that's why some people were being upset, but in terms of Trudeau's mind, he thought it was the only way to restore peace and order. So if we go back one slide, and if you want to click on this YouTube link or Google Trudeau and FLQ, okay, I'm not going to watch this YouTube link because we'll just be here all day and we don't have time for that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to summarize this YouTube link. Okay, so if you click on this YouTube link, it's a interview that took place during the Quiet Revolution with our Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. He was confronted by the media and he was questioned in terms of his action towards the FLQ. So what happened was that a CBC reporter pushed a microphone in front of Trudeau's face and suggested that government officials should leave themselves open to kidnapping and murder in the name of individual rights. This is what the CBC reporter asked. Trudeau responded, and I said, and I quote, "All I can say is go on and bleed, but it is more important to keep law and order in the society than to be worried about weak-kneed people who don't like the looks." And the CBC reporter challenged Trudeau by saying, "At any cost, how far would you go?" And basically what Trudeau did was that he basically smiled and said, "Just watch me." And when it says "just watch me," yes, he invoked the War Measures Act. This demonstrated that Trudeau would go to great length in order to stop the FLQ and to protect society from national threats. If the FLQ had succeeded in their mission, it would meant that Quebec would be separated from Canada's confederation and creating its own distinct nation. Trudeau did not want this to happen, obviously, because he invoked the War Measures Act, because it would have not meant his words of a just society where everyone is equal and united as one. The War Measures Act, okay, the War Measures Act brought a mixed reaction among Canadians. Many reacted to the usage of the War Measure Act by stating that the act was an attack on democracy. Even though the act did not target any particular ethnic group, French Canadians were seen by the greater public as a more likely group to be targeted since the FLQ was a French terrorist group. Again, that War Measure Act is controversial because it allows the government to suspend individual legal civil rights and liberty. Okay, so again, lots of controversy, lots of political movement took place during the Quiet Revolution. Okay, so what happened near the end was that after all this, Quebec premier, we have a new political leader named René Lévesque, and he established a new political party called the Parti Québécois. Okay, and what happened was that French-speaking citizens in Quebec felt that the only way to win their independence was not through violence, but through peaceful means. Okay, so obviously what happened was that the FLQ action did not work. Okay, it was stopped by Trudeau by invoking the War Measures Act. Okay, and because of that, still to this day, okay, even today, we still have Canadians continue to discuss the role of Quebec within this nation of Canada. Okay, so again, there's still that controversial mix of English speaking and French speaking in terms of the province of Quebec. We still have that, English and French barrier mix back and forth, even to this day today, in terms of what it means to be Canadian in terms of the province of Quebec. Okay? Are there any questions so far? Any questions? Any questions, Lillian in Waterman? Any questions in Fort Hope with Delilah?
No.
No? Excellent. Again, thank you so much for joining and participating. That's excellent work. So, great work, and please continue to do that, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's continue. And let's move on to assignment 7. Assignment 7 in your workbook. Okay, so you have your workbook in front of you. Let's take a time now to go to your workbook and turn to assignment 7. This is the second last assignment in the history portion. Okay, there is one more assignment in the history half after this assignment. Okay, so yes, the first half of this course is almost done. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, as you can note, assignment 7 is very, very short. It's only out of 8 marks. Okay, but it can be a lot of 8 marks. Okay, so question 1. Question 1. Provide specific details to describe the Quiet Revolution. Provide specific details to describe the Quiet Revolution. Why was the revolution necessary for the people of Quebec, and what did various political leaders do in supporting of this revolution? Okay, a big 5 marks. So in other words, the question is asking, what was the purpose? Okay, so what was the purpose of the Quiet Revolution? Okay, describe it to me. Okay, in other words, what did it achieve? Okay, so its goals. Or its role. Or its function. What was the Quiet Revolution? Okay, that's basically what the first half of the question is asking. What was the purpose of the Quiet Revolution? What did it want to achieve? What was its goal? What was its function? Okay, why was it necessary for the revolution for the people of Quebec? What did the people of Quebec wanted to do? What did they want to maintain? What did they want to protect? Is what is being asked. And the second half of the question asks, what did various political leaders do? Okay, so I need some names. Political leaders. So, just a reminder, I'm looking for political leader names such as Jean Lesage or Maurice Duplessis. Okay, but more particularly, Jean Lesage. What did he do? What did he promise the citizens or the people of Quebec? Okay, so yeah, so a lot of is being asked in question number 1. Okay, again, provide specific details to describe the Quiet Revolution. Why was the revolution necessary to the people of Quebec? And what did various political leaders do in support of this revolution? Okay, let's have 5 marks, big 5 marks. So again, I just want to emphasize and stress, again, lots of details. The more you write, the better it is for me to give you a better mark. Okay, lots of details. Show me your thinking, explain your thinking. Okay, again, make sure even though you're here with us today in class, please make sure you take the time and go back and read the textbook. Okay, again, I have included extra details in terms of my slides, but again, please make sure you go back and read the textbook. Okay, lots of key information right there as well. Okay, again, full complete sentences and lots of details. Cannot stress that enough. Okay, show me your thinking. The more you write, the better it is. Okay, if you need more space or lines, feel free to attach a separate sheet of paper or write on the back of it. Okay, that's the question number 1. Okay, question number 2. What was the FLQ? And briefly describe it as an organization. Name 2 things the FLQ was responsible for doing. Okay, so again, now 3 marks. So you can simply write the FLQ stands for, or it can be like the FL purpose was to achieve this. They were this type of group. Okay, and name 2 things that FLQ were responsible for doing. Okay, not just 1, but 2 things. Okay, this is also in your textbook, by the way. Name 2 things the FLQ did. Okay, so you can start off with like the FLQ were responsible for doing this and doing that. Okay, again, 3 marks. 3 marks. Again, short assignment, but it does involve a lot of details. Okay, and altogether that was 8 marks. 8 marks. Okay, so we do have a bit of time right now, okay, class? So I'm gonna give the class right now to some time to work on these 2 questions. Okay, so feel free to go back into your textbook and try to find the answer and try to work on it right now. Okay, that way it can be done. Okay, again, if you have any questions, concerns, difficulties, or if you can't find the answer to any questions on any assignments, let me know and we can sort that out. Okay. Lillian, which assignment are you working on right now?
Lesson 2.
Still working on lesson 2?
Yeah.
Assignment
And
assignment 4? Or was that assignment 3?
lesson 1, 1 more question.
Okay. But which assignment number? I have marked your assignment 1 and assignment 2. Did you receive your marks yet?
Question 7.
Question 7
Yeah.
on assignment 2. Or assignment 7. This is assignment 7?
6.
Assignment 6?
Yeah.
Oh,
Question 7.
okay. Excellent. Great. Did you receive your marks yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I sent you your marks last week to your DEC. So you can see how you did in terms of your first 2 assignments and what your marks are. Okay. So again, just a reminder to all students, you can always redo or resubmit any assignments. Okay. So again, if you're unsatisfied or unhappy with the mark you have received on any assignments, you do have that chance and an opportunity to redo it. Okay, or redo that one particular question and resubmit it to me, and I can mark it, and it will improve your mark overall. Okay, so again, continue to write in full, complete sentences with lots of details. Okay, details, lots of writing. Okay,
Can you explain question 7?
question 7.
Yeah.
On which assignment? Which assignment?
6.
Assignment 6. All right, 1 second. Assignment 6 does not have question number 7. Which question 7? Which page number?
9. Page 9.
Page 9? Oh, okay. So you're working on assignment 3, question 7 on page 9. Okay. It is Lillian right here?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, Lillian. Question 7 on assignment 3 asks, describe how women acquire the right to vote provincially compared to acquiring the right to vote federally. Okay, so in other words, how did women won the right to vote? What did they do? Okay, that kind of makes sense. And how was it different? So when did or which year, for example, women were allowed to vote federally, and how was it different compared to provincially? So that should be on page. Let me give you a page number. Do you have your textbook in front of you, Lillian? So if you go to page 9 in the textbook, okay, if you go to page 9 in your textbook, um, on the on the fourth paragraph, it says and talks about how women won the right to vote. They did some things in order so that they can win the or won the right to vote. Do you see that, Lillian?
Yeah.
So on page 9 of your textbook, okay, the fourth paragraph down where it begins, by the 1900s, many women felt the only way they could get political attention was to win the right to vote. And it talks about what they did. So, okay, so some held demonstration and collected names on petition. Some women formed societies and political inequalities. Other wrote articles for newspapers and letters to magazines, editorials. Okay, so how did women win or won the right to vote? What did they do? And then talk about how each province in Canada won the right to vote provincially and how that was different federally. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So what year were women allowed to vote federally? And how is that different in terms of provincial? Okay, if you remember, each province in Canada, in terms of women, each province won the right to vote at a different time. Okay, so for example, Manitoba won the right to vote in 1916, and eastern provinces such as PEI didn't win the vote or didn't win the right to vote until 1922, for example. So do you see the difference in terms of how women provincially won the right to vote and how federally? Starts a little pattern or a little difference. Okay, do you see that in your textbook, Lillian? Yeah, that's a tricky question that a lot of students have difficulties with or can't find the answer, but it's right there. It's right there in your textbook on page 9. Page 9. Women did something so that they can win the right to vote. They did something. Okay. Does that make sense, Lillian?
Uh,
Okay. Any other questions that doesn't make sense or need clarifications? Or any other questions that you can't find the answer?
no.
No? Just that one question. Okay, great. Good, good, good. So again, yeah, Lillian, please continue to work on assignment 3. And when you're done that, again, please submit to as soon as you can, and that way I can mark it. Okay? Uh, Delilah, which assignment are you currently working on?
Lila 6.
Assignment 6. So you're working on last week's assignment questions. Okay. Are there any questions, Delilah?
Not right now.
No, no. Okay. I do have you on Facebook. So again, like Delilah, feel free to ask me any questions on Facebook, and I can answer any of your questions there as well. Okay. And same with you. Okay, Lillian, if you have Facebook, feel free to add me as a friend on Facebook. That way we can chat back and forth, and I can help you on all your assignments if needed. Okay. So remember, if you have any difficulties, any questions, there's something that you can't find or doesn't make sense, let me know, and I will point you in the right direction. Okay. That's great. It's great that we're all working on PLAR history and geography. So just a reminder, class, next week we'll finish off the history portion, okay, where we'll look at Canada, the Canada Act and the Free Trade, or the Constitution Act. We'll finish that up, okay. We will go over assignment 8 questions, okay, and that will wrap up the history portion or history half for this course. And then next week, we're back at our normal time on Tuesday, 8 to 9 Central Time, where we start the geography portion. Again, please continue to work on your history assignments, whatever assignment you may be on. Okay, again, please continue to work on and please continue to work on those assignments. Okay, any last questions, Lillian and Delilah, before we wrap things up? Again, thank you so much for listening and joining me and participating, which is fantastic. Okay, so again, just a reminder to all students, Andrea will be here tomorrow at my time slot at 8 to 9 p.m. Central Time, and she will be doing PLAR English. Okay, PLAR English. Okay, so if you need PLAR English, join Andrea tomorrow night. With that being said, I'm going to stop it here, and I will see everyone on Thursday at our normal time at 8 to 9. Okay, again, if you have any difficulties beforehand, please email me or Facebook me or ask me any questions. Okay, other than that, have a great night and thank you so much.